Trains are still running. What now? And what do we do to best position ourselves when we get through all of this? To talk about marketing right now seems trite, almost a bit crass, but business is going on, and even if you're in a state like mine that has been asked to shelter in place, businesses are still doing the business of business, and there will be a day when we are beyond this. So the question is a valid one. What do you do now, and how do you best prepare for what's to come? Roy Williams, the head whiz at Wizard of Ads, recently sent a letter to all of the partners, and it said this: "Every client has asked me if we should make a coronavirus-themed ad. I have talked all of them out of it by reminding them that what people hunger for most right now is a glimpse of normalcy. They're looking for familiarity, a smile, optimism. We do not win by running with the herd. We win by taking the road less traveled." To dive a little deeper into that, what Roy is getting at is that hope is going to be a stronger motivator than despair. In other words, you're not ignoring what's going on. You're actually acknowledging it and saying, we are going to get through this, and I'll be with you there on the other side when that happens. Now, how do you do that? There's a subtle art to saying it without saying it. In other words, trying to get an idea across without just being so blatant as saying, we'll get through this together. You give your customers a sense of normalcy by behaving in the most normal way possible. You continue to do what you were going to do otherwise. This is important for a couple of reasons, not just the sense of community and the sense of normalcy that we all crave, but it's important for a pretty key law of marketing. The idea of building a brand and protecting your brand, which is important right now too, is you're planting seeds for tomorrow. For a lot of businesses that have what we refer to as a long purchase cycle, people who are hearing your ads today aren't going to make a purchase until 6, 8, 12, 18 months from now. If you are doing a kitchen remodel, for example, the experts in the industry say that you might start thinking about it now, March of 2020, but you make the purchase in September of 2021. So the best thing you can do for yourself and for your business right now is to keep telling your story. Now, I say that with all the sensitivity of understanding that it doesn't ignore the reality that there are still budgets to hit and employees that you have to pay. I'm talking simply about a message, a marketing strategy that not only gets you through this, but sets you up to be in a good position when we do get through this. Now, admittedly, if you're a grocery store, if you are a restaurant, yeah, your message is going to be a little different now than what it's going to be 8 months from now, but not a lot different. If what you are trying to convey is stability, then be stable. You know, there's the great marketing story of Wrigley Gum during World War II. And there's a lot of similarities right now where we're being asked to sacrifice and ration and look out for each other and have this shared experience. Wrigley Gum during World War II kept advertising even though you couldn't buy Wrigley Gum on the shelves. Now that seems a little ridiculous and extreme, but it makes perfect sense when you consider that there's going to be a day that people will come out of their homes and they will want to do business with you again. That's inevitable. And you don't have to hit people over the head with it. Just by being there, just by saying that you are there is enough to get the point across. You don't have to come out and say, you know, in these uncertain times, we want you to know that we still wash our hands and we'll be there for you. You don't have to say any of that. In fact, clarity is going to be more important now than ever. I mean, think about the tonnage of information that we are all getting on a daily basis, a minute-by-minute basis. And to get through that, to get you through that, you want to make your point in the most clear and obvious way, but you don't have to hit me over the head with it, right? I've talked before about the importance of long-term planning and short-term planning, and Professor Mark Ritson concurs. He said, this is the time right now to think long, not short. The temptation is to dump your marketing budget into shorter-term performance marketing and sales promotions. That would be an error. No amount of hot deals and clever sales activation can stimulate a market that is currently terrified, locked inside their homes, and unsure of their future. And it's true, you know, our 100-plus year history of marketing, there have been many stories of businesses who either started in a downturn or soldiered on through and sent the message during the tough times that we're here now and we're gonna be here tomorrow. And the power of that can't be understated. You're also in a situation where a lot of your competitors are inevitably pulling back. And that's going to give you a larger share of voice. You'll have more room in the ad space to tell your story. Think of businesses like IHOP, Hyatt, and Burger King. They began in the 1957 recession. Microsoft, FedEx, and Southwest Airlines were born in the tumultuous economic times of the early 70s. CNN and MTV appeared in 1980 and 1981, respectively. In fact, in 2009, half of the businesses that were on the Fortune 500 list were actually businesses that began in a downturn. And again, I have to reiterate, I say this understanding that this is a weird and tough time. Weird and tough aren't even strong enough words to describe what's going on right now. But in the question of marketing and what you do with your marketing today, the answer is your marketing is a rope that connects you from now to tomorrow. And to let go of that rope right now is a very risky thing for your business, not just today when people are being very thoughtful about where they're going, what they're doing, how they're spending their money, but it's also important for the tomorrow that inevitably is going to come. Professor Ritson concludes, consumers will return to the streets, the cafes, and the various other activities that they have been denied during the dark days ahead. Keep the brand light burning, because the cost of snuffing it out for the rest of 2020 and then trying to reignite it next year is gigantic. I'll keep talking about this in the weeks and months to come at molsonpartners.com and on the podcast and here on YouTube as well. If you have any questions, please send them in. I'd be more than happy to address them here in this forum or in one of the other ways that we can communicate together as well. Now go wash your hands, literally, and go hug a doctor or a nurse, figuratively. Don't really do that. And we'll be talking very soon. Stay safe.